With the offseason well and truly here now, the rumors are starting to heat up. As the NBA attempts to find a suitable restart date, and with the NBA draft night nearing, teams are starting to take a hard look at their roster and wondering where they can improve. We've already seen some major staffing and front office changes. The 76ers have got Daryl Morey on their staff now, and the Brooklyn Nets have assigned Mike D'Antoni as an assistant coach. But we're yet to see any big trades occur. There's of course been reports about some here and there, and that's what I'm here to look at today. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at 5 players that may be on the trading block this summer, and some potential trade packages involving them. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that all being said, let's get right into this top 5. Number 5. Jrue Holiday. Over the last couple years, Jrue Holiday has consistently been in trade rumors, and this is mainly due to his high value. He's been an essential part of this New Orleans team, particularly on their late burst this season and in their big upset in the 2018 playoffs over Portland, but now his future with the team remains uncertain. That seemed to be maximized during this season after Anthony Davis's departure, as the Pelicans went young and have started a rebuild with potential superstar Zion Williamson. Jrue Holiday no longer fits the timeline of the team, so many believe he could be gone this offseason. This isn't to discredit Holiday's value. He's one of the most underrated guards in the league today, so a lot of teams will be after him and will be likely to offer the Pelicans a fair amount back for him. One team seen in rumors lately for Holiday is Denver, as they search for the piece to help their young core get over the hump. So, what would a trade look like between Denver and New Orleans for Jrue Holiday? The Denver Nuggets received Jrue Holiday for Jeremy Grant, Monte Morris, and the 22nd pick in this year's draft. For the Nuggets, this is a fantastic deal in my eyes. They get another all-star caliber guard in Jrue Holiday to pair with Jamal Murray, which makes an incredibly formidable backcourt, and Holiday can add the defense the Nuggets somewhat lack there. Obviously, Gary Harris is a great defender too, but Holiday is also a better playmaker and offensive creator, so to have him starting instead would be a big upgrade for the team, and who knows, could potentially push them over the edge. Losing Jeremy Grant here does hurt Denver. He was amazing for them this season and was the perfect role player for them. But I don't see the Pelicans making this deal otherwise, to be completely honest. They need to get someone valuable in return, and Grant is just that. He is the definition of the perfect role player. For the Pelicans, as I just briefly mentioned, getting back Grant is big. This would be part of a sign and trade, as Grant does hit free agency this offseason, but to get some guaranteed years on him is great. Grant on paper fits the mold of this Pelicans squad, and I think his addition would be very beneficial to their second unit. They become a deeper team, which makes them more deadly, and personally, I think adding a guy like Grant could push them almost into the playoff picture, even in the stacked West. He can make such a large impact even without the ball, so again, great pickup here for the Pels. As for the other 2 pieces, Morris is a decent bucket getter, and obviously, you can't go wrong with another first round pick. Overall, I think this is an extremely fair deal for both sides. In my opinion, both teams improve, and for their scenarios, what they get back is very beneficial. Let me know your thoughts on this below, but let's move on to number 4. Number 4. Gordon Hayward. Hayward's stint in Boston has been disappointing. With expectations to be the team's secondary star, that plan got disrupted barely 10 minutes in his first ever game for the Green after he suffered a horrific ankle injury, and ever since, he hasn't been the same. We can't get too mad at Hayward for playing underwhelmingly. It isn't his fault he suffered this injury that's obviously affected his play, but I think the Celtics do have to hold him accountable to some degree. I think with Tatum and Brown emerging as stars, it's time to let Hayward go, and from what reports say, Hayward might think that too, with rumors stating he may look for a way out. So, who would need the use of Hayward? A team that has been linked to Gordon quite heavily over the past couple months is the Indiana Pacers, as they look to retool after a poor playoff run. So, if Hayward was to go to Indiana, what would a deal look like? The Indiana Pacers receive Gordon Hayward for Myles Turner and Jeremy Lamb. For the Pacers, this may not make too much sense at first glance. Hayward is on a massive contract and the Pacers already have quite a few scoring wings, but I do think this is a good idea for Indiana still. A guy who has been solid for them the last couple seasons but hasn't ever been anything special is Myles Turner. He's been in trade rumors for a while now, and with Sabonis' breakout season, it's looking likely he'll be traded this offseason, and according to rumors, Boston have been heavily pursuing him, so to get a guy back like Hayward for him would be a W in my books. Hayward also only has the 1 year left on his contract, so if things don't pan out with him next season, they can let him walk and have a ton of cap room for the stacked 2021 free agency class. And if he does turn out to be a good fit, they can re-sign him, but obviously on a much cheaper deal. This is really a win-win situation for Indiana, if I'm being honest, and is very low risk, so I think if this is offered, it's really a no-brainer. For Boston, this is also a great deal, as the addition of Turner is fantastic for their current situation. Boston's big man depth has been quite poor this season, and with floor spacing ability and potential, Turner would help increase that. Turner is still very young, only 24 years old, so he fits Boston's timeline well too. The Celtics' lack of big man depth was exposed during the playoff run, and though their small ball with Hayward did work at times, I think Myles Turner would be a better player for them in their current situation, and he sends them off in the right direction. Overall, this is a good deal for both sides. I think it's worth a shot for the Pacers. It's a low risk, high reward type situation. And for the Celtics, getting a guy like Turner makes too much sense to pass up. They will elevate with him in my eyes. So again, it makes a lot of sense for both teams. Number 3. Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose has been on the rise lately, finding his form finally after many years of devastating injuries. In Detroit, he's re-emerged as a good to great scorer, averaging 18 points a night in just 26 minutes on really solid shooting efficiency. Due to his recent career turnaround, he is now an appealing option for contenders as they look to upgrade either their second unit or overall scoring prowess. One team heavily linked to Rose these last few weeks is the Los Angeles Lakers, as they look to repeat as NBA champions. So, what would a trade look like between Detroit and LA for D Rose? The Los Angeles Lakers received Derrick Rose for Kyle Kuzma and Quinn Cook. For the Lakers, I personally believe Rose would be a great pickup, with the potential for the Lakers bench to weaken over the offseason due to many of their role players entering free agency. A trade for a guy like Rose would definitely be worth it. He could be a fantastic scoring option for them off of the bench and would be able to lead the offense when LeBron takes a seat. Though Rose is past his prime, his improving scoring ability as he becomes healthier, as well as his past experience with LeBron, makes him a suitable asset for the Lakers to pick up and would be amazing for them in my eyes. Unfortunately for the Lakers, in making this trade, they do have to move Kyle Kuzma. No matter how much he is hated on, Kuzma was a consistent scorer for the Lakers all season long, and in the playoffs, we saw his game develop extraordinarily, particularly his playmaking, which is now on a solid level, something that couldn't be said prior to this season. However, with Detroit rebuilding, they'll be looking to collect all the young assets that they can, so I think it's pretty obvious Kuzma would have to be involved in this deal. For the Pistons, getting Kuzma is a big win, as he'll help with the refreshing of the team as Detroit looks to hit reset. Quinn Cook can also provide some valuable scoring touch, but is really only in this deal for salary purposes. On paper, Detroit probably loses this deal, but I doubt Rose would help them contend any more than they are right now, so the prospect of having a young gun in Kuzma instead is probably more appealing to them. Overall, this is just a solid deal all around. The Lakers arguably upgrade their bench depth, and at the very least they upgrade their scoring depth, as aside from LeBron and AD this season, they didn't have a guy who could go and get you buckets consistently, which is something Rose can hopefully do. The Pistons get younger here and set themselves up well for the future, so this is a win-win here in my books. Number 2. DeMar DeRozan. Throughout this season, it's been made evident that the DeRozan-Aldridge era of San Antonio will not last much longer. After failing to make the playoffs for the first time in 20-odd years, the Spurs are reportedly looking to blow things up and move on, and a guy who will likely be traded away is DeMar DeRozan. Still in his prime, DeRozan is a star-level scorer any team would want, and though his lack of a three-point shot hurts his value in today's game somewhat, acquiring him would be huge for any team. As of late, DeMar has been linked to two teams as they both look to find that final piece to push them over the hump into title favorite status. Those teams are the Milwaukee Bucks and Brooklyn Nets, but today I just want to focus on the Bucks side of things. So, if DeRozan was to get traded from San Antonio to Milwaukee, what would a deal look like? The Milwaukee Bucks received DeMar DeRozan for Ersan Ilyasova, Eric Bledsoe, and Donte DiVincenzo. Obviously for the Bucks, this is a win-now move. With uncertainty surrounding Giannis and his future with the team, they need to do everything in their power to ensure he stays come 2021 free agency. In these past playoffs, it's obvious the Bucks lacked one thing, and that was another playmaker outside of Giannis. Sure, Middleton's an all-star, but due to the one-dimensional scheme of Milwaukee's, they became easy to lock up in the slower-paced playoffs. Had they had another guy to run the offense through, another guy who could carve out defenses and create his own shot, they might have made a break for the NBA Finals, and that's where DeRozan comes in. With a guy like DeRozan, who is elite at shot creation, it would 1. Give Giannis more space and freedom that he needs in the playoffs, and 2. If Giannis does again struggle, Milwaukee will have that all-star level playmaker to rely on instead. This then assures the ball won't end up in the hands of a guy like Bledsoe, and thus makes the Bucks a much more deadly, legitimate threat for the NBA championship. The only problem here is DeRozan's average shooting from deep, as teams may still be likely to leave him open, which could keep the same problem the Bucks currently have. But if DeRozan does continue his all-star level form from the past couple seasons, they should be okay in my eyes. As for the Spurs, they get some nice pieces here. Ilyasova only has 1 year left on his contract, so if they wish to let him walk, they can do so without too much worry, and if not, then he can be a solid all-around player for them. Donte DiVincenzo is the biggest pickup for the Spurs though. He's got a lot of great potential to be a first-team all-defensive level guard, and during the past playoffs has shown his ability to lock up top-tier players, as well as contribute on the offensive end. Eric Bledsoe is also a nice pickup as well. Though he isn't anything special, he's still a consistent offensive contributor, and could be a good mentor for the young guards of San Antonio. He is mainly in this trade for salary purposes, but again, he's not a bad player at all, and could be useful to trade for more assets down the track. Overall, this trade is obviously more so in favor of the Bucks as they look to win now, but I still think this trade benefits the now rebuilding San Antonio Spurs. Either way, both teams are getting pieces to help their current situation, and though they can be seen as risks, I think they are risks worth taking. This is by far the biggest blockbuster deal on here, so I wouldn't be surprised if you think this is unlikely, but hey, it says insane blockbuster trades in the title for a reason. Number 1. Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo's name and trade rumors has increased lately, and apparently so has the likelihood he gets moved this offseason. If VO and Indiana can't come to terms on an extension, he may seek a way out. One team linked to Oladipo lately is the LA Lakers, as many fans believe that if they were to target a third star to join AD and LeBron, Oladipo would be the guy to go for. So, what should the Lakers move in order to gain Oladipo from Indiana? The Los Angeles Lakers trade to Indiana Kyle Kuzma and Danny Green for Victor Oladipo. For the Lakers, Oladipo is a perfect fit. He'd be a fantastic secondary ball handler and offensive initiator, and has shown potential before his injury to be an elite shot creator and even playmaker as well. Obviously, he's struggled since his return, but going into a third option role might be best suited for him now. In this role on LA, he will still get plenty of looks and a lot of ability to run the offense, but he obviously can't be the guy to take a team to a championship anymore, or really even past the first round of the playoffs. This trade benefits LA largely. A lot of teams around them will definitely improve this offseason, so they cannot stay complacent, so trading for a guy like Oladipo would be huge for them. As for Indiana, they may be on the rebuild soon, so getting a young gun like Kuzma back is big. Regardless of their apparent struggles this season, Danny Green and Kuzma are two serviceable NBA players that will be solid role players for a team for many years to come. With the potential Indiana builds around a core of Sabonis, Warren and Brogdon for at least the next couple of seasons, getting these players back would improve their overall depth and make them a better team in my eyes. Green can improve the mediocre spacing this team has, and Kuzma can be a great second unit player and potentially a starter for the future for them. In the end, though this deal is quite unlikely to happen, I think it is worth offering, especially if I'm the Lakers. Oladipo's trade value is at its lowest right now, and due to uncertainty about his health, many teams won't trade for him right now. If the Lakers are willing to take the risk, they'll be able to get him for cheap, and I think this is why they should heavily consider it. With only 1 year left on his deal before Oladipo enters the stacked 2021 free agency class, this is a low-risk, high-reward type move for LA, so given the opportunity, I think they pull the trigger. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? Do you agree with these trades, and do you have any of your own? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe, but with that being said, I am out. Peace.